Hi guys, once again, welcome back everybody for day 3 of the 5-day speaker series that we have at Garuda Hacks 2.0. For today's agenda, we have our sustainability workshop, a talk by Shopee, and followed by our MSMEs workshop. So we would like to remind everybody to join the Garuda Hacks Discord channel and to check your links, check your email for links. That we update regularly. So, without further ado, I think we can welcome our first speaker of the day, which is Jerry Bonata. So, our next speaker is the head of the Bawah Anambas Foundation, which is an Indonesian foundation that aims to improve the ecosystem in Anambas. So, if you guys don't know, Anambas is a small archipelago in Indonesia. So, they're doing incredible things such as their waste bank, teaching young generations about marine conservation and even coral restoration. So, it's basically, so without further ado, please welcome our next speaker, Jerry Bonata. Hi, Jerry.
Hi, Angie.
Nice to have you here. Maybe
Thank you
you
so
can
much for
give
this
like a
topic.
brief, yeah, maybe you can give like a brief introduction for everybody who's watching about who you are.
Sure, absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm glad to be here. My name is Jerry Binata. As Angie has mentioned earlier, I am heading the Anambas Foundation, which is a small, tiny foundation that's working in the Anambas archipelago. We'll get into like what is the Anambas because I'm sure that a lot of you would never heard about the Anambas. Even Indonesians wouldn't know like where the Anambas is or what even it is. So I think we'll get into the details a bit later on.
Okay, yeah, I guess
Yeah.
would you like to share a screen so that you can start your talk?
I think I already did. Haven't I?
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll add you to the stream. Okay.
Okay. So okay, well, thank you so much everyone for joining. I know it's Friday night, you guys. At least in Indonesia, for those of you who are in Indonesia, it's Friday evening, and I'm very amazed that a lot of you are committed and be here and join this talk, even though there are a lot of more interesting thing we can do on a Friday night, right? So I wouldn't be mad if you need to take like 2 minutes. Do grab your favorite drinks, um, we don't have to make this too formal. We're just gonna have a bit of a chat. So yeah, feel free to grab your drinks. Take 2 minutes. Whatever beverages, your favorite beverages, and we're just gonna have a bit of a chat for the next hour. I won't talk for a whole hour. I will try to keep it short and sweet, and then we can spend a bit of time for conversation and discussions later on. Um, Couple of things as a disclaimer. This is my first time using StreamYard, so I'm a little bit, trying to figure things out. I have my cheat sheet over here. I have a few other things going on, so bear with me if I'm dealing with some technical difficulties. It's just a bit of a disclaimer in the beginning. All right, so if everyone have their drinks on their hand, getting comfy in their chairs, I think we can start. Again, thank you very much. The Anambas Foundation. What you see on your screen to protect and rehabilitate the ecosystem of the Anambas archipelago and elevates the community's welfare. This is pretty much our mantra. Um, to everything we do, every single program that we develop is this is our mantra. Um, in the course of the next hour, this is what pretty much what we're going to do. So in Indonesia, we have a saying, tak kenal maka tak sayang. So, when you don't know something or you don't know somebody, then how can you care for them? So I'll do a brief introduction of the Anambas Foundation and also getting to know the Anambas. We will also go into something a bit broader, which is the Indonesian marine ecosystem. So the reason I chose this topics, Indonesian marine ecosystem, the Anambas Foundation, marine conservation activities, all this thing that you see in front of you, because Garuda Hacks asked me to talk about sustainability issue in Indonesia. And that is a massive topic. So what I try to do is to discuss a couple of issues that is relevant to what we do with the Anambas Foundation. That's why for tonight, we're going to talk about the marine ecosystem and the waste management. Because I think those are two pretty significant and very relevant issues for in the context of Indonesia. So let's get started with the first one. Um, Yayasan Anambas or Anambas Foundation. We were established in 2018. Tiny foundation, and we work in three pillars: forest conservation, marine conservation, and community development. It's represented in our logo as well. The leaves is above, which is forest conservation. The turtle is below, which is marine conservation, and the hand signifies beyond, which is community development. We got several activities within each pillar. The forest conservation, we conducted grassroots level and community-based forest restoration. The below, again, we always involve the community in all aspects of our work, which is called restoration, rehabilitation, and marine debris. I will get into this in more detail. And the beyond, we do integrated waste management. We teach English to school kids, and also organic farming. What's not in the picture, we also work a lot with women's group. So we do a lot of women empowerment. So short and sweet, that's that. And then we are gonna jump into the Anambas. I can bet my, I don't have anything valuable, my laptop, that 80% of you, or maybe 90% of you, have never heard of the Anambas until today. And that's all right, because we are a tiny, Angie mentioned it, we are a tiny, tiny dot in the middle of South China Sea, located between the Malaysia Peninsula and the Kalimantan, Borneo. So we are a tiny, tiny archipelago, and we are also the most outer part of Indonesian sea border. A bit about the Anambas, again, tak kenal maka tak sayang. And now it's not working. There you go. So it has 10 sub-districts, small population for Indonesian standard, 45,000 spread across 255 islands. 80% of the population are fishermen, not well educated, secondary and high school graduates mostly. And the average income is about $150 to $300 per month per household, not per person, but per household. And that one household is more or less about 4 people. So yeah, again, short and sweet. I just want you to have a bit of a background of where the Anambas is, how it looks like, and what the foundation do. Now, I'm going to take a bit of a bird's eye view and talk about a broader sort of issue for Indonesian context, the Indonesian marine ecosystem. Right, so I got my cheat sheet here. Oh, by the way, I also accompanied by a few of my team members who join us. So if I need some help from them, I'll probably call them out. But I do have my cheat sheet. Marine biodiversity in Indonesia. This is pretty remarkable. Located in Coral Triangle area, I think most of you would know this. We are the world center of marine biodiversity. With more than 17,000 islands, we are the biggest archipelagic country in the world. 90,000 kilometers of coastline, the second longest in the world. We have 2.5 million hectares of coral reef, representing 76% of the stony coral around the world. That is massive. A lot of people said that we are the lungs of the world because of our forests, but actually our coral reefs are even more significant. We have 3.3 million hectares of mangrove. That's a quarter of the world. And also seagrass. We have 13 out of 60 species in the world. Although marine resources are key contributors to Indonesian food security, these resources are facing really severe challenges. And I'll get you through it on the next slide. These are the marine issues. Now, Let's start with a big one, climate change. Of course, it's not just an issue for our marine population or marine ecosystem, but it does have a massive impact, especially on coral bleaching. The rising temperature is causing massive issues with coral bleaching. And this is something that I think everyone who have a beach holiday in the past, I don't know, 5 years, is not immune to seeing all this marine debris to get washed up to the shore. Overfishing is another critical issue. It influences the food chain in the marine ecosystem, and we needed it to imbalance. So when something is severely overfished or something severely taken out of their habitat, of course it will impact the balance of in nature. And this is what is also very sad. This is also the results of the climate change. Well, some of them. Habitat degradation. As the world, Indonesia is the fourth most populous country in the world, but about 270 million. Um, and our coastal areas are prone to degradations. And one of the biggest contributors for this is actually human activities. Over the past decades, 3 decades, sorry, the past 30 years, Indonesia has lost about 40% of the mangrove areas, which means that Indonesia has the fastest rate of mangrove destructions in the world. Of course, there's a lot of causes, overpopulation is one, the rising of the need for housing and using unsustainable materials is another. Um, and based on the 2019 data, 1,153 reefs, 1,153 reefs in the world, 390 of them, which is more than 30%, is categorized poor or less than 25% coverage. So Indonesia does have a lot of challenges when it comes to dealing with all four of these issues. Now, there are some mitigation strategies and also efforts that's been put in place by the government. The first one is all the nice ones, the policy. Of course, we need to develop regulations and guidelines to improve surveillance, mitigation. Of course, we need to mitigate all this problem. The one that I put in orange is those are the one that the Anambas Foundation are doing in the Anambas. Data and plans always an issue. We don't have enough data to back up. Maybe our team from Garuda Hacks can help us with this. And also human resources, not just on skilled marine biologists, but also the involvement and the understanding of local communities, which is very important to address some of these challenges. Now, if you look at all these four very nice sort of like ideas and needs, right? It all looks great. Like for example, the establishing of MPA is marine park areas. So basically, this is the preserve or protected areas. So all these are great, but the Anambas Foundation work at the grassroots level. So we work at the Anambas Marine Park area. The problem that we have is not so much about like giving a place a name or declare a place to be a marine park area, but what resources and what's the effort that goes into enforcing and making sure that these marine park areas are really being protected and not just entitled. So those are some of the underlying challenge that we came across. So that's kind of like the broad overview. Again, guys, I mean, all the thing that I just mentioned, the past 3 slides, with one Google search, you'll be able to see it anyway. But I think it's important to put it into context about like, what are the challenges that we're facing in the country as large as Indonesia, and what can we do, right? Here, I mean, we at the Anambas Foundation, we are trying to do our part in this sort of like remote, almost untouched area in Indonesia. Just for a quick info, the Anambas Marine Park area is 1.2 hectares, making it the second largest marine park in Indonesia. And only probably less than a dozen of people are responsible to take care of it. 1.2 million hectares. I mean, the number doesn't add up, does it? So that's why it does take, not just the authority and the government, which we so easily give responsibility to, but we at the Anambas Foundation believe that everyone have their part, including empowering the communities. So that's what a bulk of what we do is surrounding that. So let's talk about what we actually do. We do have several activities. We conduct reef health monitoring every year. We help the government to collect the data in places which is too difficult for them to go because of, like I said, human resource constraint as well as budgetary constraints. So we're trying to pick the most remote areas in Anambas and provide the data to the government. We also do an active coral reef rehabilitation using several methods. Turtle conservation, how cute. Mangrove, as I pointed out, very important ecosystem. Shark monitoring, just to sort of like monitor what's the population of shark, because they are a very important species to maintain the balance in the ecosystem. And also marine debris collection, which is, it seems endless. What have we achieved until 2020? This is the last data that I have. Is so again, the Anambas Foundation, we are really young. We are only, well, come 2021, we're 3 years old, so we're very young, but we're quite proud of what we have done thus far. 4 times the reef health monitoring, we've conducted hundreds of underwater cleanups. We've collected 606 kilograms of marine debris. Mind you, this is only from 2 locations. I mentioned in the beginning, we have 255 islands, more or less. This marine debris is collected only in 2 islands out of 255. 13 shark monitoring conducted. We've planted 600 mangroves. We also grow 800 seedlings. 28 nests of turtles have been protected and 618 turtles have been released. Again, 2 spots. That's it. Only from 2 islands. Actually, for the turtle, it could be only from 1 island, actually. So for the artificial reef, we have coral table as to grow the coral. And we have submerged 48 hexadomes, which is a type of artificial reefs, and 541 board pile corals, which is a new initiative that we are currently trying out. This has never been done before. We also built 11 coral trees and 190 coral spiders, which is another type of artificial reef. So again, this is just from a 2 years work in 2 villages. So tiny work. But as you can see, the impact can be quite significant if we involve all parties. Now, I mentioned in the beginning that the Garuda Hacks requested me to talk about sustainability issue in Indonesia, which is way too broad and way too big. And unfortunately, we don't have the whole weekend to talk about this. We have an hour. So in order to make it efficient, we're limiting it to the marine conservation, the one that we just discussed. And now we're going to go into the waste management. Sorry, let me just take a sip of water. Have your drink, please. Let's talk trash. Yeah. Waste issue in Indonesia. I think globally, the issue of waste was one of the hot topic around right before COVID, of course, and then COVID hits. Of course, everyone's focusing on COVID. Second largest polluter in the world. That's after China, I believe. And then the second largest food waste producer. If we're in the Olympics, we're getting silver across the board. 67 million tons of waste in 2020 alone. And more than a third of it come from household activities. Especially during COVID, people stay at home more. And then people also ordering in food more. So the number of waste that from the household level was just increased exponentially. Um, Let me just look at my cheat sheet. Yes, 187 million tons of plastic waste thrown into the ocean. Um, Almost all landfills in Indonesia are not properly managed. It's because we don't separate. I mean, by we is Indonesian at large, do not separate our waste. So even the recyclable waste that is valuable goes straight to the landfill, mixed in with unrecyclable waste such as diapers, sanitary pads, organic waste, everything put into one. And that's why even the valuable recyclable waste are no longer valuable, and it just goes straight to the landfill, making our landfills filling up very, very fast. And then the COVID-19 hits and it's not helping. There's a massive waste increase, as you can imagine. Um, Food waste is doubled because people are eating in more. And then plastic waste increase, of course, as you can imagine. Everything is single use. You and we understand, right? It's required. People are worried about their health, so they use single use mask. They use single use what you call that, gloves. So of course it makes sense. Medical waste also, but this is not helping in the already mounting issue of waste in Indonesia. The government does have a good, a plan, and the legal basis is the presidential decree. It's all rather technical. Again, you can Google this really, but it's useful to put it into one context. There's two policy direction by the government. One is on waste reduction. The other one is on waste handling. So basically management. What are the targets? So in reduction, they want to reduce the waste by 30% by 2025. 2025 is 3 years from now. We don't have much time. 70% of waste being properly managed. This is what I'm uh, talking about before, that not all waste goes to the landfill. So they want to reduce 70% of those waste that currently go to the landfill by 70%, which means that they want to start managing or handling the recyclable waste better. Well, at least by 70%. Ambitious number. How are they going to do this? So yeah, the three R's, of course: reduce, reuse, recycled at the source. So when you said the source of upstream, it means that at the household level, and also on the waste handling, they want to do segregation, collection, transportation, treatment, and final processing. Make total sense, right? And this kind of like target, and then the government will develop the strategy of waste reduction and waste handling. And so far, it's still unclear what the actual strategy is. They have one, it's just still a little bit unclear. And from the strategy, of course, they're going to start implementing it into action. But all that, the key, I mean, the policy is great, the target's ambitious, respectable, the program makes sense, but everything relies on enforcement and information um, dissemination, right? So this is what's still quite there's a gap. Let's put it that way. There's a gap in the target, the policy, and the implementation, as well as enforcement. So yeah, these actions is one of them is circular economy and policies. This is what they have done or would like to do better is to improve the recyclable waste collection through waste bank initiative. So waste bank initiative is not a new initiative that's been going around for a while. Um, done right, it can have a significant impact, as we have proven ourselves in the Anambas. 39 cities and 2 provinces have issued policies to the limit of use of plastic. Yes, but how many of the cities are actually successful is questionable. Jakarta and other bigger cities, of course, and Bali, only in retail stores. They haven't gone to traditional markets, grocery stores, and small stalls, which communities in the outside of the urban areas, which is the rural areas, they go. This is where they go: the traditional markets, the small stalls, and that are the bigger contributors. Bali has a good sort of like example to ban the use of plastic bags and straws, but only effective in two region, I think, in two districts, if I'm not mistaken, Badung and somewhere else. So great effort. It's the effectiveness is yet to be seen. Again, because the key success to this policies lies in the readiness, which is socialization and education. Like how well are we communicating this, um, and the enforcement from the local government. And also, I think there's another part that's missing from this is that um, the alternative, the solution itself, like we're banning things, we haven't done a great job in providing the alternatives. Sure, there are reusable bags, there are biodegradable bags, there's like reusable straws, but the access and availability and as well as costs is still a major factor, a deterrent to make these products are more accessible, especially in areas that are outside the urban settings, like small islands like the Anambas. This is the timeline that I literally copy paste. This is just for you to sort of like understand the level of ambitiousness from the government. We are in the 2020, well, we passed 2020, and I don't think we are anywhere near the 2025 target. Fingers crossed, though. I don't want to be totally pessimistic. Now, what do we do in the Anambas? So when it comes to waste management program, the Anambas Foundation is very specific. Uh, we are focusing on creating, well, we're trying to create a blueprint or an example how to do an integrated waste management, but specifically for small island communities, because a lot of the innovations as well as solutions, um, it's the it's catered for bigger islands like Bali, like Phuket, and also urban settings like Jakarta, Surabaya, and all the big cities like Bandung, Medan. But we don't have, I mean, all these amazing high tech solutions, innovations are not applicable to small and remote areas like the Anambas. So the goal of the foundation is, when it comes to waste management, is to create this, hopefully to be a blueprint on how to manage the waste for small island communities. Because to think about it, if you think about it, in Indonesia alone, there are thousands and thousands of these small communities across Indonesia. And we haven't even counted, I mean, beyond Indonesia, we have the Philippines, we have Micronesia, we have um, the Pacifics, you know. So all these countries, these archipelagic nations are facing the same issue. And we are don't have the answer yet. So we're hoping to create that blueprint, working together with multi-parties. So yeah, the waste management. What do we actually do? Mm, Again, it's nothing like mind blowing or anything. Education is key. Of course, we need to provide education. We teach the household, we teach the community, we work directly with the community on how to do separation because this is key really. Uh, but we realize when we are on the island, you know, we educate and then we teach them and train them on separation and on, you know, the danger of waste and blah blah blah. And then we look around. If they know everything right, and if they do everything right, they collect properly, they separate the waste, and so on and so forth. And then what? They don't have any proper facilities. What the best they can do is they can just put it on one area, or they burn. None of them is good. But if they don't burn it, they put it in one area with literally one thunderstorm, everything goes back to the ocean. So the foundation recognized that challenge, and we commit to not just educate and train, but we also provide proper equipment and facilities, so that the waste that's been collected is not just sitting there, or it's not just being burned and polluting the air. So we provide all this proper storage facilities, equipments, and so on and so forth. And we also train together with the government, with the communities. We upcycled this waste. We try to create products that have bigger values than what is originally in original form. um, it's the whole circular economy idea. So how does this look into practice, right? So this is the scheme. Hopefully this will explain it a bit better or give a better picture. So we have two players. On the top right, this is the foundation. On the bottom left, this is Bawa. Bawa Reserve is our devoted partner. And it's Bawa Reserve is a luxury, sustainable resort located in the Anambas. So they have been our partner since the beginning. So it started with us, the Anambas Foundation, and Bar Reserve, and we committed to try and pilot this idea in two villages, which is Kiabu, that's the name of the village, and village two is Telaga, on the left hand side, top left. Now, this is kind of like the starting point. The foundation invested in these two villages. In Kiabu, we actually built a small scale recycling center. It's a village level recycling center. And in Talaga, we invest in providing the waste storage unit. It's a building, basically, to store waste properly. And we also teach the community how to do a proper collection and separation. We provided the bins and so on and so forth. Now, once they collected, and by the way, Bawa Reserve, they have done this proper waste management already. We're working with them, but they're also doing it. So once the waste are collected, what do we do with them? We send them back. Only the recyclable waste. Once it's properly separated, we send the recyclable waste to Kiabu Recycling Center. So, and then once they get to the Kiabu Recycling Center, we teach the local communities. Everything is community run. We're there to support and provide technical assistance, but the one who's running the show are the communities. So we train the communities to upcycle this product. So The hard plastic, the sachets, the glass bottles, um, we chop them up, we crush them, and then we turn them into eco bricks, the one that you see. And then we are also trying to make candles out of like used oil, cooking oil. Now, once we have these products, right? Once the community actually produces products, what do we do with them? We pick a new program site, yeah, a new village, and we send, we purchase back, the foundation purchase back the bricks, so the community have a direct cash incentives, and then the foundation invested back the bricks to this new program site, and other upcycled products also being purchased by Bawa Reserve, our partner, the resort, to be used in the resort. Um, and then in the new program site, we invested back and we built another storage unit, a waste storage unit, using bricks that's made from waste. Um, and we also provided the other facilities, the bins. We also trained the community in the new areas, and so on and so forth. And once they do everything properly, they collected the recyclable waste, and it goes back to Kiabu, and the process starts over again. So this is kind of like the scheme of what the Anambas Foundation is trying to implement, and hopefully this could serve as an answer to address the waste management challenges in small island communities like the Anambas. Again, we are only working in 3 villages, and so far, and up to 2020, this is what we have collected. Uh, we have managed more than 160,000 kilograms um, of waste, and oops, we've conducted a lot of education, socialization, and la di da, all that nice stuff. But yeah, this is a tiny amount in comparison to the number of waste in the Anambas. But we believe that this is the highest number of waste that's being managed in the whole Anambas, because no one in the Anambas is actually managing the waste. Um, like what I mentioned before, a lot of the waste just goes straight to uh, landfill. So yeah, we've pretty much covered like a bulk. How am I doing in time? Okay, so we pretty much covered a big bulk of the presentation. Now, to close it, I want to talk about like how can we get involved, right? So for all of you who are attending tonight, just by being part of Garuda Hacks, obviously you're already involved in some way. But how to address bigger problems? How can you eat a whole cow? You know, and the answer is simple: one bite at a time. Yeah, we can start with something really easy. Support and donate to the cause you believe in, whatever cause it is. Pick a credible NGO, support them, donate to the cause. That's one way to contribute. It's one way to get involved, or you can kick it up a notch. You know, you should create, or it's not mutually exclusive. So do something small. Again, changing the world start with a small step. So just do something small in your day-to-day way of life. It can be, stop using single-use plastics. It can be anything. Composting, or using a better products that doesn't ruin the environment. So there are a lot of options. Just something small changes in your day-to-day life affect change in your most immediate surrounding. Again, yes, there's this romantic idea about changing the world or creating a massive change or impact. And some people get bogged down with that romantic idea that they gave up. Um, it's not about like changing the world in a day. It's more about try to look at your surroundings and do change that, your family, your school, your immediate co-workers, your colleagues or something in the area. Just start there. It will grow. If you want to kick it up a notch, explore a career in development sector. Choose again. It's There's so many issues. We just covered two, which is marine conservation and waste. But there's so many issues. Find something that you're passionate about and sort of like get involved and explore a career in that sector. It can be in food security. It can be in medicine, uh, improving women access to education. It could be in minority rights, LGBT rights, anything. So, but yeah, do explore. I mean, it is a career. You know, um, you are still making a living working for nonprofit. So it is a career, and it's a pretty good one. So explore it. Last but not least, it's not an easy thing to do, but like I said, by you all being part of Garuda Hacks, you already are agents of change, and it's never easy to be agents of change. Stay bold. You already are bold by participating here. So yeah, stay bold and be the agent of change toward a more sustainable world, wherever you are, whether it's your office, whether it's your school, whether it's in your family. um, People will criticize you sometimes. People will make fun of you, but stay bold. And I guess that's for me. I hope you guys enjoy that. And we got 13 minutes, I guess, for Q&A. Sorry, it ran a bit longer than expected. Sorry about that, Angie.
It's all good. Yeah, we do have some time for questions, guys. So thank you, Jerry, for that really insightful talk. I'm pretty sure 80% of the audience now knows where Anambas is. Like, I don't know where Anambas was till I got to know you guys, which I think is great. Now I know where Anambas is, what you guys do, and what you guys do is some really amazing stuff. Um, which leads me to the first question. So, how did you get started with Anambas? How did that happen?
Oh, how do I get started? Well, before this job, I kind of like, I'm always involved in the development sector one way or another. But a big part of my professional life, I worked for the World Bank. I worked for the World Bank for 4 years. Of course, with the World Bank, I deal mostly with poverty reduction, grassroots level empowerment, and then I moved to the UN. Um, eh, with the UN, I work in World Food Program, so food security, uh, nutrition for pregnant mothers and babies, as well as disaster response. So I think all that kind of like culminates in I'm gathering all the experience and things like that, and then I got introduced by chance really to Anambas, and I kind of fell in love with the Anambas. And again, it just goes to show like if you're passionate about something, ways will open up. So we collaborate with the Bar Reserve, and they're very supportive. And the foundation was born. But to be honest,
Mhm.
it's because I love traveling and I love beach holiday. And when I was in the Anambas, I was in awe with all the beauty that I saw, and I got pissed off with all the trash that I see. So I'm like, I'm not gonna let this paradise go, or be ruined. And I do have something in my power to do something about it. So I just do it.
Okay, so you said that
Yeah.
you have something in your power to help. So I think the audience, some of the audience are asking, can they volunteer for Anambas
Mm.
or like maybe intern at Anambas? Is that possible?
Yeah, I mean, all that is possible. We are developing the new strategy for 2022 and beyond. we will need quite a bit of hand. We are not like massive organizations like WWF or Greenpeace that have a much larger resources to play around with. We are very tiny foundation, but if you are passionate about the issue and if you want to get involved, for sure. It's not the easiest place for you to visit because of the remoteness. So if you think that you can spend months of hanging out and living with the villagers, then yeah, sign up. We always could use like passionate people who can get down and dirty with us in the Anambas.
Which leads me to the next question. How do you get to Anambas? Like, do you have to take like a 15-hour boat?
Well, yeah, well, we can go. Oh, look at that in the chat. Can you see the chat? I think my team member was being proactive and already like sharing the. She's doing much better than I do. I haven't even promoted any of our websites or whatever. But yeah, that's my team member. Just type it. Just kindly send the CV to our email
Got
address if you can share it. Yep.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
how to get to the Anambas? Yes, you get yourself to Batam, right? From Batam, there is a commercial flight that has been recently in operation again, and you get to the a bigger island called Letung, and that will take about an hour probably from Batam with a propeller plane, a small plane, and then once you get to Letung, the only way to get around these 255 islands are in the fisherman boat. There are some ferry boats, but mostly in fisherman boats, man. Yeah,
The
all
really
fun.
small,
Yeah,
the small ones. Okay. Um. Yeah.
they're not
Some.
tiny. They're quite big wooden boats, but it's not like the ferry that you would normally take to Singapore from Batam. But they're pretty big and comfortable, and you get to hang out with all the local communities, and yeah.
Okay. Then can I ask you this personal question? Like,
Hmm.
what's the most memorable experience thus far while connecting with the village there?
Yeah, that's a lot of things, but these stories always stick with me. I was at this time I was traveling around the Anambas for 2 months. Uh, I was literally living from one village to another. At this point, the foundation was not even there yet. So this is like us trying to get an idea of what can we do for the Anambas. So I was traveling around the Anambas for 2 months. I was living from village to village. I just came from the UN, blah blah blah. So there's this one tiny village. Um, they um, they're quite remote. They're tiny, but there's a lot of people living there, and they're the only village that I couldn't get access to water. So what they do is they collect rainwater, or they have to purchase fresh water. So I was like, this is the only village that I came across that they don't have like water ready. Like, what's happening? So I asked them, it's like, so if you buying this water, like, where does it come from? And then they were showing me, oh yeah, it just came from that side of the island, that island across across. I could swim to that island. You're right. It's not that far. That's the source of water. It's located there. And in my, Jakarta mind kind of like person, thinking about how silly these people are. Like, if the water source is over there, why don't you just build your houses there?
Mhm.
Why do you build it in this island that's so dry, that don't have any groundwater, and make your life difficult?
Mhm.
And then I kind of like, tell them that like, oh yeah, so why are you guys like hanging out here and not there, blah blah. And the answers was so simple. And they said like, yeah, our great grandfathers, the one who came to this island, they already knew that. That's why we don't want to build our houses there and ruin the source of water. That's why we built our residentials here, so that that water source is protected.
Oh my god.
And I was just floored. And I'm like, here I am trying to help them with like development, blah blah blah. And then their insight was so simple. And they do understand the value of conservations. Sometimes they don't know how to elevate it or how to create a bigger impact. But that story alone blew until today blew my mind. Like, like of course, it made total sense. It's me, the urban setting mind, the greed that's been like eroding my head, and I'm so used to convenience. I'm
Yeah.
so used to convenience. I forgot that there's value in making things more difficult for people in order to conserve the natural resources. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
of course, it makes total sense. I'm an idiot. Like, yeah,
You feel kind of
that's one of the.
speechless by this. It kind of like blows you away for a second right over there.
Mhm.
You talked about, so they're actually aware of marine conservation, right? So on a scale of one to
Well, they're
ten,
they're aware about the.
how much would you rate on a scale of 1 to 10 about how aware Indonesians are about marine conservation,
Uh,
especially
well, you
like
can't you
the urban
can't
areas?
really. Yeah, I mean, you can't really like generalize the awareness of like this issue. Obviously, if you're a fisherman, uh, living in coastal areas for generations, you understand like where does the fish hang out. Like what needs to be protected, what's not. Um, so they are aware of that. That doesn't mean they will do the right thing because they're so
Mhm.
used to having fish in the ocean. They're having used so, but the bigger problem is this industrial fishing vessels that comes in and sort of like get all this overfished the area, right? So what's left for the small fishermen? They have to choose between doing the unsustainable way of fishing in order to feed their family or starve.
Hmm.
So that level of awareness is there in the very sort of like rudimentary level, and sometimes their skill of this like small scale fishermen, they know more on sort of like fish behavior and things like that. All this sort of like coral, the purpose of corals, all that they understand all that, but sometimes they're pushed for because of the circumstances.
Yeah. Okay. Um, I guess we have time for one last question. So I think a lot of people are really interested in like applying to volunteer. So can you explain what does a day-to-day life look like as a volunteer in an Msmes Foundation?
Oh, I just wish that my colleague is here, but I'm not sure if
What's her?
she's if he's around. Oh, sorry, because first of all, this is a good example. Internet connection is bad, so forget about like uploading stuff to Instagram and all that. Yeah, you can kiss that goodbye. No TikToks, nothing. So that's the life of the volunteers in Dynamics. But yeah, no. Our volunteers, we had two interns. Both of them are marine biologists. They came from Jakarta and or Bekasi, and the other one came from Tanjung Pinang, but originally from Medan. So they come and volunteer for intern for us. They stayed for 6 months in the village in Kiabu village, and they were committed. We have a house, a simple house, and then we have two permanent staff. Our program manager from marine conservation and the program assistant are already there, so they live in the same house. Every day they would hang out with the villagers. They will be part of the community because the only way for the Anambas Foundation, I stayed with the local communities for like 2 months before, and since then I keep coming back. Like I spend more time in the Anambas than in Jakarta at one point. So the only way to do anything, actually, this goes for anywhere, right? Is build trust. Like without trust, is how are you gonna collaborate with the local community? So the day-to-day life for volunteers is basically hanging out, having coffee, and yeah, you do some work, of course, a lot of diving. We transplant a lot of corals. We conducted a lot of coral rehabilitation. But listen, anyone can volunteer in a different way. It just happens that the two interns that we had and the volunteers that we had, they're all like marine biologists because at the time that's what we need. But now we need engineers. We need help with to run the uh, recycling center. We need ideas to uh, if there anyone who's crafty, like we need ideas how to turn this waste into like different products. We need creative minds on how to develop, um, try to come up with like different solutions for different things. The one that I just described to you, for example, the waste collection, the marine debris. Is there any better way to sort of like deal with that? So it's all sort of like there's so many ways to do that. Yeah. Again, the easiest way, come and contact us. I think my
Yeah.
team
Left.
already shared
Yeah.
that. So please, yeah, please send, and we can always have a chat and see what your interests are. If you're good in video making, if you're good in like come and volunteer for us and create videos, and there's a lot of stuff that can be done. Mm.
Yeah. So basically, you guys, I left it on the comments. You can definitely check them out on Instagram. You can also reach to them if you want to connect with them by their email I left on the comments section below. Yeah, guys. I guess that's all the time we have for today with Anambas Foundation Jerry Winata. Thank you so much for your time and have a good night, I guess. Bye, Jerry.
Thank you so much, everyone, and have a good Friday night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I guess I can leave this to my colleague to take over. Hi, Brian. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Okay. Let's just move on to the next speaker. I'll let you have the floor. Bye.
Sure. See ya. So our next speaker is Alvia Anjani. Alvia Anjani is a recruiter for engineering and product management at Shopee's Jakarta office. He has 5 years experience in recruitment, employer branding, and various human resource projects, working at big name companies such as Unilever and EY prior to Shopee. Let's give a warm welcome to Alvia.
Hi, Brian. How are
Hi,
you?
how are you?
Good, good. I'm good. How are you, Brian?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, great, great. So, how can you start?
Yeah, let's start with the presentation and
Okay, okay,
we'll take it if you have any questions.
okay, right. So, we're gonna start with the slides. So, Fazlia, are you in? Okay, hi guys. So thank you very much for having me and also having us at Shopee. Yeah. So today, actually, we would like to try to share to you and also discuss actually the way how is actually the tech professional life and how we can try to build the career as a tech professional with Shopee. And also, we're going to share about Shopee and a bit about life at Shopee. Right. So, ya mungkin aku mau kenalin diri dulu sendiri nih. Tadi udah dijelasin sama Brian ya. Next, Fajria. Okay, so yeah, by way of introductions, my name is Alfia and I'm on behalf of Shopee recruitment team. So pretty much before joining Shopee, as mentioned, I was joining EY as a talent recruitment as well. And then I was also being a talent advisor at Unilever Indonesia. And then I was having an opportunity to do or like to take my master at University of Manchester, majoring in business psychology. And then after that, I came back to Indonesia and joined Shopee right after my postgrad. So yeah, so here I kind of like, menambatkan hatiku ke Shopee right after several experiences. Okay, next. Right. Okay, so what we're going to cover today, kita akan discuss dikit about Shopee and also how we can try to define the career, your career as a tech professional in Shopee, and also there's gonna be a Q&A session, yeah, after that. Right, next. Okay, so maybe you guys has already know Shopee is actually part of a C Group. Jadi Shopee itu having a parent company which named C Group with three subsidiaries which are Shopee yang merupakan e-commerce platform kita, C Money, the digital financial arm, and also Garena, the digital entertainment arm with famous games launch such as Free Fire, League of Legends, and also Call of Duty Mobile. Next. So, speaking about the history of Shopee, Shopee itself was launched in 2015. It's actually started in Singapore, which is now our headquarters. And today we have presence in these 8 markets, as you can see on the slides. So, we are taking care of Singapore, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Taiwan, Vietnam, Philippines, and also Brazil. But Indonesia is actually the largest market. So, lucky for you guys, if you're going to join Shopee Indonesia, you might be involved in innovative pilot projects, which eventually are implemented across the region. So, we're going to be involved in lots of projects that might be becoming the example, jadi kayak sebagai contoh untuk region-region lain gitu. Well, it's lots of cool projects that we are having now. Next. Nah, speaking about Shopee ya, mungkin kalau misalkan we're talking about Shopee applications in your hand gitu, we do have like lots of people that are taking care of the applications. Jadi ada beberapa bagian-bagian di yang taking care of those applications sampai akhirnya Shopee ini bisa teman-teman gunakan nih. So we are having like a tech team that creates and also manage various Shopee technology products. We have got a business development team who develop the Shopee business with a close relationship with merchants. We do have our people team, our human resources team that ensuring a cool workplace for the Shopee team. We are having the marketing team who are producing various interesting campaigns that can be enjoyed by Shopee employee and also by customers. So we are also having the operation team who support the business by ensuring the best user experience. And also we do have our BI team, business intelligence team, that collect data and create analysis that can be used for decision making. So if we're talking about life at Shopee, we can see it on the next slides. Okay, so here's the thing. So learning and development is a core and we invest a lot of in our people, in Shopee employee. So there are 3 different trainings that we can obtain, which are the general trainings for our soft skills, functional trainings, which are for more technical skills that required for the role, such as for the team tech, that they're going to have several trainings related to using several tools, or let's say marketing team, how can we try to boost our brandings and so and so. And then we're also having a leadership trainings. So here in Shopee, we're actually having tagline. We call it as a work hard and play harder. So you can see here, we do have like an orange day, we have got a Shopee Fest, Shopee Fit, and Shopee Share. So we do have like lots of activities, fun activities that created by our HR team. For example, like back then in 31st October, 31st October, we're having the Halloween party, either like online and also offline at our office, because like we're currently having like sort of hybrid working now. Okay, next. But next, Julia. Okay, so if let's say that you're going to ask, then instead of we're still working hybrid, in view of pandemic situations as well, some of our offices has put in mandatory work from home arrangements still, yeah. But however, this doesn't stop us to continue our engagement with our employee virtually. So we've had like lots of different virtual trainings, like the Lunch and Learn series. So we kind of like having online meetings with our colleagues. Then we're going to have the lunch together, even though we're facing our camera, but we're going to have a deep talk as well. And then we do have like team activities such as fitness challenges and also creative workshop. So we do have like lots of virtual team building activities and also virtual activities that we are doing during this pandemic. And if you do join us, of course you will get experience all this fun as well. Okay, next, maybe this is actually the example of the activity that we've been doing during our pandemic. So we do have like a virtual Shopee Fit. So we do have like Zumba class, yoga class, and then we have got an external sharing. Sometimes like a psychologist coming in about making pottery, and then we are previously talking about astrology sometimes. So it's very interesting. And also we do have like a virtual Shopee share that we've been talking about the lunch series as well. Okay, so next. Yeah, so after you know a glimpse of Shopee as a company and how is the life at Shopee, then we can try to focus on the discussion about building your career as a tech professional. Next. Right. So here I would like to share several information about tech team in Shopee. So we here at Shopee in the tech team, we are focusing on developing the local applications of Shopee. Jadi kayak all features yang teman-teman bisa explore melalui Shopee itu memang pretty much dibangun oleh our product and engineering team. Ada beberapa bagian besar sebenarnya ya. Jadi ada, as you may know, we have games in our platform. Ada games yang untuk ngumpulin points, vouchers, promo, itu tim games kita yang bangun, game engineering kita. Lalu selain games, we do have our payment team. So in each shopping applications pasti ada proses paymentnya ya kan ya. Nah, dan itu di-take care sama our tech payment team. And then we do have our supply chain team yang nggak kalah luar biasanya karena mereka doing all the operations. So such as for the logistics, Shopee Express, fulfillment, 3PL, and so and so. Nah, terkait dengan pembagian functions-nya sendiri, tim tech ini dibagi menjadi 3 functions, which are engineers, technical project manager, and also product manager. So it's kind of like consists of 3 big chunks of teaming at the team tech itself. Okay. Nah, starting from the games features, there are quite a lot of numbers of games that you can play in our applications. Mungkin siapa coba yang udah pernah cobain ya? Pasti menurut aku banyak teman-teman yang kadang-kadang suka iseng-iseng nih ikutan main games di Shopee. Kenapa? Karena selain bisa main, somehow tuh hadiahnya juga bisa dapat vouchers, promo, dan lain sebagainya. Gitu. Ini mungkin kita bisa lihat di sini for all the tech team that taking care of the games marketing, they are creating the e-commerce, the e-commerce platformnya, and also the games that appear there, such as like the Shopee Tanam, Shopee Bubble, Shopee Candy, and all the things that you can see here. Okay, next. Nah, in regards to our payment team, we do have lots of payment channels that we built together with our partners that can be seen here. So also we do have services that also support the application itself, yeah, such as like the Shopee Pay, Mitra Shopee, Shopee Food, so juga the pay laters and all the things that supporting the e-commerce applications in your hand. Okay, next. Right, so kalau di tech team itu memang kebagi menjadi beberapa bagian nih sesuai dengan role-nya masing-masing. So at first, we do have our back-end team. Back-end engineer team are the team who are responsible to write high-quality, clean, elegant, and maintainable code. So as a recruiters, we're going to try to find someone that have got experiences to use the language program with Java and also Golang. And also for several tools, you can see here, we are expecting someone who can use Grafana, Verilog, and also Docker and Kubernetes. And aside from the back-end team, also we do have our front-end team that are responsible to maintain and enhance our high-quality in-house JavaScript libraries and toolsets. Di sini biasanya kita mencari memang orang-orang yang sudah berpengalaman using the React.js and also TypeScript for the language programming. Next. Lalu, aside from that, we do have like our automation or manual quality assurance who are in charge to create test case design and planning to make sure our application is running smoothly. So for this team, we need candidates who got experiences in client-side socket programming, database, and also SQL. And also, we do have like our SRE team. SRE team stands for Site Reliability Engineer team, who are responsible to promote product scalability, stability, and also performance. So most likely, we are also going to need several basic skills in terms of automation tools like Ansible and also SaltStack. For the monitoring tools, we are most likely using the Prometheus, Zabbix, Grafana, and etc. Then we, aside from all the engineers, we do have like the team that we call it as a technical project manager, which are becoming the operational heart of cross-functional team of developers, designers, and also quality assurance and product managers that setting the pace and proactively establishing efficient processes. So most likely in this technical project manager team, it would be beneficial if you have got experiences working as an agile coach, a scrum master, or agile delivery as an agile delivery lead. And then this is the thing that I mentioned previously with the games applications that we have, game features in that we have in our applications. There are the game engineer that is responsible to develop our 2D and 3D web game, and most likely in as a game engineer, at least you can use Unity as the tools. Right, but in general, aside from all the technical abilities that you have to support the work, the ability to do problem solving, having a strong logical thinking, have the right attitude, and also mindset are very much needed to be successful as a tech professionals. So yeah, maybe you need to be, the high standing candidates, so you can perform well as a tech professional here. Okay, nah kalau misalkan I would like to join Shopee but I don't have any experiences, then how gitu? Gimana ya? Kan diminta punya experience gitu. No worries guys. Di sini I would like to share about our intern program at Tech Team in Shopee Indonesia. So we are open to have our intern throughout the year. Jadi we understand that there are lots of university that has got different of graduation dates. But you don't need to be worried that we are going to be open every month. So when you are going to join us as a tech intern, you are going to be put across the functions, and also you are going to work closely with our tech team Shopee Indonesia, and also it's going to be last around 3 months. Jadi intern di sini tuh benar-benar kayak you're going to be jump into the working environment of becoming the tech professional. So you're going to have direct learning experience by doing several projects, and also by learning it from the employee here in Shopee. Intern di sini juga I can guarantee is very very fun because you're going to be guided and you're going to learn a lot with the mentor that have been prepared by the tech team. Dan juga kalau misalkan udah intern di Shopee, of course it can be a fast track for you to be the full-time employee at Shopee gitu. Jadi no worries if you don't have any experiences. Let's say you guys are fresh graduates, we're very welcome if you would like to try to join us as an intern first. Or mungkin for people or like for students that are last year already at the last year students, you can also join us, and then you can try to join us meanwhile, let's say you are waiting for your thesis defense and so. Okay, next. Okay, so if let's say you're questioning what's actually a career path at Shopee, so here's actually the you can give a view. We can give you a view about the career path here in Shopee. So as an engineer and also product manager, we're very open to anyone with various leveling based on their experiences. Jadi di Shopee tuh ada benar-benar yang dari freshie sampai yang udah pengalaman kayak up to 10 years experiences. Jadi we're very diverse in terms of their background and also their experiences. And here's actually a few of the career ladder when you join us at Tech Professional at Shopee. So if let's say that you are having 0 to 1 year experiences, you're going to join us an entry level, and then 2 to 5 years you're going to be put in the mid level, more than 5 years you're going to be put in the senior level, and also the managerial might be around 15 years experiences. Next. Okay, so last but not least, if you're going to join us, you don't need to be worried. We as the employee will get lots of support from many resources to be able contributing ourselves. Yeah. We're going to have supportive managers that can be your direct mentors. We are having several sharing culture with our colleagues, and also we do have several trainings that you can join. We do have like a buddy and also mentorship programs, and also we have got like our HR fellas that always help us. So pretty much, this is we actually can try to figure it out through the graphics. Yeah, jadi kayak you are in the middle of the circle, and you do have like the circle that really supports you, so you can perform well, and also that contribute with your skills and also with your capabilities. Okay, right. I think that's all the things that I would like to share from our sides first. Maybe next, Evangelia. Okay, so it comes to Q&A session. Maybe I'm gonna go get it back to Brian.
Hey, yeah, so thanks so much for the insightful, thanks so much for the insightful sharing session. Actually, one of my close friends actually works at Shopee, and she really enjoys the culture and also Team Orange. I think that it's a really great place to work. So,
Mm,
like one of the questions that some of our people have is that what do you think is the most meaningful about your job?
the
You know,
most meaningful.
yeah.
Okay, the most meaningful about my job. Well, it's that's an interesting question, Brian. But I think here when I'm joining Shopee as a recruiter, I always try to see the big pictures, of my contribution. So I can say that I kind of like make a ripple effect. So I'm recruiting for tech professional who are building an applications like a shopping application on e-commerce that can be used by lots of small medium enterprises, company, or like all the businessmen businesswomen out there that can sell their products and also that can enhance their economic status. So I think that's the thing that I always kind of proud. I'm always proud of it, and also one of the big reason why I'm joining Shopee, Brian. So yeah, it seems like, oh, you're a recruiter and you're recruit like for tech professionals. Yes, but we do have like the ripple effect of what I'm doing now, and it can even impacting um, the economic status of our country as well by enhancing the SMEs and also all the people who would like to try to sell their products and also increasing the entrepreneurship throughout Indonesia.
For sure, I think that's like a very, that's a very meaningful part of working in Indo, and I think that it's also advancing the economic opportunity and the opportunities and livelihoods of millions of people. I think that's having a part of that is very crucial, and also
Mhm.
it helps you it helps you sleep at night, right? So another thing is like there's like a lot of e-commerce companies out there that offer one-stop solutions. What do you think sets Shopee apart compared to other um, e-commerce companies?
Mm-mm. So actually, what we are doing, like when we're doing, we always see, the competition as in how we can try to see ourselves first. So we're going to focus how we can try to develop our applications, our services to, our customer, to our merchants, how we can try to be better than before, rather than better than anyone else. You know what I mean? Like we're not seeing it always comparing one another, but more into how can we try to compare ourselves with our past performance, and then we can see that it's fine to see the competition in terms of the e-commerce itself, because we are having a purpose that being here as a part of the e-commerce industry that we can also try to enhance the economic of Indonesia as well.
Sure. I think there's a few questions from the chat. So one from Angie. So do you need to send in your transcripts to sign up for the internship program, or do you what is the process like for recruitment?
For the internship.
Yeah, for internship and also full-time opportunities as well.
All right. Okay. So if you guys have got an interest to join us in Shopee, we do have like lots of channels actually, Brian. So we are having our career site at www.shopeecareers.com, and also we do have like other channels in LinkedIn, and also in like several job channels as well, like job board channels. So you can try to see in our career site all the openings that might be suitable with your roles. So you can try to apply there and see whether you're going to be called back by the recruiters, and if already you're shortlisted already, the recruiters is going to try to call you to have a short talk, and then after that we're going to have like several stages, such as tests. We do have like several tests that need to be done by the candidates, and also several interview sessions with our team. Well, it will be depend on which roles and also which level you are. So pretty much the process is going to be CV shortlisting through the applications, and then we do have test, and then we do have the interviews, and also it can goes to the offering. So hope it answers. Yeah.
For sure, it does. I think for people who are not from a tech role, can we join Shopee or apply for a tech role if we're not from a CS or data science background? And what are some of the steps for that?
Okay, that's a very good question, Brian. I do have like lots of questions that asking me, well, I'm not coming from the, let's say, a computer science major in specific, but also would like to try to apply as a tech team, because like I'm very interested with the tech, with technology nowadays. Well, basically, it's fine if you're not having like very specific major in the tech or like in technology or in computer science. But well, we're going to try to find some candidates that having skills that required each roles. So I've already show you previously, right? Let's say for the back end, we do have like several programming language that they're using. So at least the candidates are having an experiences to use that. So even though let's say that there is someone that not coming from a computer science background, let's say from mathematics, but they're taking several courses, like joining several boot camps, joining taking several online course that makes him or her can do or like can play around with those application, that is still okay. So it's not going to be about so it's not going to be about major wise. Yeah, so it's not that a highlight, but more into the skills that going to be required.
Yeah, thanks for that. I think that it's I know a lot of friends who study other topics rather than computer science, but then they um, you know but then they go on to take on other boot camps. And I think that
Hmm.
it's really enlightening to hear that you don't have to be like a strictly computer science major kind of to kind of get into a technical role. So do you have any CV or interview tips when applying to the tech roles? And do you have any insight on that?
Okay, CV and interview tips. Okay, so we're start with the CV first, yeah. So in terms of the CV, I think again, so if we're talking about CV, I need to make it clear at first that from my side, from my point of view as a recruiter, CV is like your photograph. So if let's say that I would like to know Brian, of course, Brian can show me a picture of you that showing your face feature, right? So to know you, of course, I need to have like a clear photograph of Brian. So that's actually the same with CV. If you're going to send the CV and you would like to try to be acknowledged, to be recognized by the recruiters to several roles, or like to several um, um, yeah, roles, yeah, for like roles or like job of several job application that you are applied at, then you need to make sure that your CV is going to be clear. clearnya gimana gitu? How what kind of clear? What does it mean by clear? Clear means that your CV can show the way you are having your experiences, your educational background, your achievements, your skills, and also your interests. So skills is not CV is not about a good design. CV is not about how long the CV is, but more into how can you try to align what the company needs and also about what you have as a person. So you can try to find out like what is actually the things that they are looking for if you would like to apply as let's say a backend engineer. So you need to make sure that the things that you have, let's say the skill that you have, the experience that you have is going to be related to the job that you're applying to. And then on the other side, if let's say that you would like to, let's say, apply for the product manager positions, of course you need to make sure that the recruiter is going to know that first maybe you're going to have a good interest in a high interest in product management, and then also let's say when you are having a project that have been done previously, you need to mention and how you did that and how what kind of things that being achieved back in the project itself. So you need to make sure the recruiters know. So more into like how can you try to show yourself through your CV. So yeah, so again, you need to know yourself first, put it out in your CV, and then make sure that it will be aligned with your job applications. So that's my first tip about CV. And then the second one about the interview sessions, actually is pretty much the same. So when we're talking about the interviews, you need to be noted to yourself that when you are already having the interview session, it means that you already get a big chance, like to be recognized, to be known by the recruiters or by the hiring managers. Then now how I can try to how I can how can say ya, more into like how can we try to sell ourselves gitu ya, to tell the company, hey, I'm actually good loh gitu, I'm actually good, I have got these skills, I have got these experiences. So you need to make sure that you are showing them too about all the things that related to the job itself. So here, when we are talking about the interviews, make sure what you are saying is not only about the things that the if condition, you know what I mean, like not saying that, well, if like this then I'm going to do this. No, but please say based on your experiences, so such as that the recruiter said that, okay, so are you or like are how good you are with the public speaking, let's say the interviewer said that. So maybe Brian, so if I may, I'm going to use Brian as the case, yeah. So let's say Brian would like to say, do not say that, okay, yeah, I'm good at public speaking, I believe that I can share all the things that all the materials in a good way. Do not say that, but say that, yeah, I think I'm good at public speaking because previously I was having several experiences in public speaking, such as I was becoming a moderator at Garuda Hacks 2.0 events with several, let's say, with 10,000 viewers in the YouTube, and I can manage it well to moderate the events gitu. Jadi more into like showing them how you can go with all the experience that you had previously, and how we can try again, how can try to align your experiences with the job description that maybe have been shown previously in the job applications. So yeah, so maybe hope it helps.
Sure, it does. I think there's like another question that says, what's the minimum age or minimum education for interns at Shopee?
So if we're talking minimum age, we don't have any minimum age, because like I think we've never ever asked someone with their age, I guess. Yeah, I believe that. So but in terms of the minimum educations, it would be depend. See, it would be depends not more likely about the minimum year, but more into how actually you can try to be engaged with the internship program itself. So for example, that our internship program is actually require you to have a full-time internship. So if let's say that you only have around 1 to 2 classes per week, and it's only 1 to 2 hours per day, then it's still possible. But if let's say that you still have lots of classes every day in a week, I think it's not gonna be apa ya, mungkin it's not that uh it's not that good, not that good, but more into like, I think it's quite unfortunate. Why? Because like we are going to give you like specific projects, meaningful projects that might requires a full-time internship period. So like for a full-time work ya. Jadi kayak ya 9 to 9:30 to 6:30 like any other full-time worker do gitu.
I see. Thank you. And we do have a question that says, what are the career development programs that are available at Shopee, especially for the tech professionals? I mean, a lot of people actually choose the jobs that they want to, just because they can learn a lot. So what are some of the professional development programs that are available at the company?
So about the career development program, I think we do have like quite a lot. Like we do have like in integrated career development program here. Yeah, not only more into like professional development, like such as like how can we try to be promoted in certain times, and also let's say with the increment, with the progressions and so. But we do have like lots of trainings, we do have like lots of mentorship, and also we do have like lots of sharing programs that can be obtained by the employee. So Shopee is not only going to see an employee through their career progression and so, but also how can we try to build our tech professional as in good in the soft skills and also in technical skills, so it's going to be balanced. So yeah, we in terms of the career development program, of course, if you're going to join us, there are going to be quite a lot programs that actually integrated one another to develop yourself.
And I think coming back to like that question, like so like what kind of like characters are you looking for Shopee, or like what is like one distinct identity that a lot of people at Shopee have when it comes to traits or characters?
Characters. Okay, that's a very interesting questions in terms of characters. Well, I think it would be um I guess agility. Yeah, agile, like being an agile. Why? Because being an agile, or like being a flexible, or like having a flexibility in our characteristic, it would be very important. Yeah, because currently we are living in the world that having a that having a constant change. So change is not the thing that we can avoid. Change is not the thing that we can delay, we can postpone, or we can try to hide. Yeah, or hide to gitu. So being agile and also being flexible is very much needed, and I think all the Shopee teams needs to show that characters by let's say that within this maybe pandemics, the way we're not having so much trouble to adapt by working from home, and so yeah, by having those agility, being an agile and also flexible, I think it would be the main characters of our Shopee team.
Awesome, thank you. We do have a question from Raka. This is not a job related question, but does or will Shopee have student perks or discounts like Amazon?
Um, yeah, well, I think Well, I think we don't have it now, yeah, pretty much. But I think it's gonna be a very great idea. And then we're going to take it up with our team, and also for our next webinar. Yeah.
Sure, looking forward to progress on that maybe next year if you guys
Sure,
decide
sure,
to
sure,
utilize.
sure. We're gonna take it as a note, of course.
Uh-huh, for sure. Um, what are I think like we're coming to an end in terms of some of the questions that we can find, but like
Mhm.
what are some of the day to days that we can look forward to in a typical tech role at Shopee?
So for day-to-day activity as a tech professional here in Shopee is more into, of course, depending on the roles, yeah. But more likely, they're going to have like starting the day with, I guess, like a regroup meeting, like a catch up with all the teams, and then they're going to try to do their stuff with their works, and also, most likely here in Shopee, sometimes we are having fun as well in the middle of the work because we do have like lots of sort of facilities, let's say in office, yeah, if we're going to work from office. Um well yeah, to be very honest, it's quite hard to answer questions, Brian, because yeah, since we do have like a quite flexible working culture, it would be depend on each person how they're going to do that. But typically they're going to start it with the catch up meetings, and then they're going to do it their works, and then catch up with the friends, having a lunch and talk series that I've been um previously mentioned that I've mentioned previously, and then also yeah, going back to the work again, and then sometimes we're having like another like the Shopee Fit challenge at night to work out together, like even though it's virtually.
A quick note on that. So maybe we want to like kind of as the world gets back to normal, we want to know about where Shopee offices are in
Mm,
Indonesia and where the tech team will be based at.
okay,
Especially
okay.
because Shopee is multinational and incorporates several different countries as well, right?
So in Jakarta, our offices are located at SCBD, so in Pacific Century Place office in building, and then we are having another office at Pakuan Tower, the Casablanca, yeah, and also another one in Sopodol Tower in Kuningan. So yeah, so and then in terms of which offices that tech team, well, our tech team is currently located at our SJBD office. So if let's say you're going to join us as Shopee tech team, then you're going to be placed at the SJBD, our office in SJBD.
Thank you so much for that. What are some of the career tracks for tech? So especially because Shopee has different products like Shopee Pay or e-commerce. So how are people placed if they have like a specific preference for a certain product line?
I see, I see. That's a good question as well, Brian. So yeah, I think it's gonna be like one a small part of the career development as well. So if you're going to be a Shopee employee, your aspiration will be heard. If let's say that you are having some aspirations to explore another roles, another um channels, there's a possibility for us to explore it. Yeah. Of course, it will be depend on our capability and also the availability. Yeah, but it can be done that way. So if let's say that we would like to try to explore the, let's say, tech payment team or maybe a tech supply chain team, there is a possibility to do that. So how about you, Brian?
I worked at e-commerce at the first year, but then I, decided to do something different. So I think, I think like the opportunity to like branch out and, go
Mm,
out to different product lines is also very important as well. I
mm,
think those are all of the questions that we have actually. Actually, we finished kind of early, but if anybody wants to like ask any questions or any follow-up questions or want to get in touch with you, What's the best way to do that?
So of course, if let's say that you do have let's say in well first interest in applying to Shopee, you can try to check our career sites, and then if let's say you do have any questions, well you can try to contact let's say our team through the career sites as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I think those are all of the questions that we have.
One thing, another thing, Brian, if I may add. So another thing is one of the things that might be interesting in Shopee is if let's say that you're interested to join us and then you have or you know someone that currently working at Shopee, you can of course ask them as well. So like our Shopee employee, it's kind of like our how can I say, I'm more into like an ambassador as well. So if you have got any interest to join us, you can ask them, and then the our Shopee employee or like your friend who are working at Shopee can pass your profile and so pass your inquiries to us as well.
Definitely, and I'm sure our viewers will keep that in mind. So I think those are all of the questions, and I hope. Do you have any last comments or notes that you want to make to our speakers before we close today?
Okay, so yeah, I think all in all, I actually would like to try to encourage you to try to explore your career path. If let's say that you do have any interest in joining Shopee as tech professionals, of course it's gonna be a good place for you, I guess, because like being Shopee being a tech team in Shopee is going to be about being a backbone in the company itself. Yeah. So
Mhm.
please do not hesitate to try to join us, and then yeah, hopefully we're going to see you around as a Shopee employee afterwards.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming out today. Yeah, and we hope that some of our candidates or some of our participants actually do go on to work at Shopee. Really appreciate
Mm,
coming out
mm.
today.
Oh, yeah, Brian, actually, I also would like to give you some information. So, aside from, all the things that we might inform you at the career sites, we do have like lots of events like this. So, maybe if I can share the screen, Brian.
Yeah, sure. Hold on a second.
Yeah. Okay, so this is actually our upcoming events. So aside from all the things related to the tech roles or tech professional, we're sometimes also talk about any other roles, yeah, in Shopee. So like in on 25th of November, Thursday, we're going to have an event. So we call it as a Through the Lens of the Shopping Marketing Project Team. So here, my colleague, Fania, will also share about how can we try to, or like how is actually marketing project team at Shopee. So aside from maybe the tech team that I've already shared today, if you are also interested and also curious about the marketing team, you can join us as well on next Thursday.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Do you have any other comments or should we close out for the night?
So yeah, I think that's all from my side. So thank you very much,
Thank you
Garuda
so
Hacks team,
much. Mhm.
for the time. Thank you, Brian. So hopefully we can see you guys again in the future, maybe as the candidates or maybe in any other occasions. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Take care. So that's Shopee. We do have one more talk left today, which is a track overview of our small businesses or MSMEs track. It will be happening at 9 p.m. Waktu Indonesia Barat, which is around 10 minutes. So we encourage you to stick around then. Thank you. Next up, we have Stella He, who will be presenting to us the small businesses track. Stella He has experience working as a consultant at Boston Consulting Group in the Jakarta office, and also working closely with the president's special staff in developing strategies and supporting their decision-making processes. Prior to working at BCG, she received her bachelor's degree in accounting from the University of Indonesia, and she's currently pursuing an MBA degree from the Northwestern's Kellogg School of Management. Without further ado, here is Telhia.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for having me today. I hope you guys have a good time anywhere you are in the world. So again, my name is Tama. I am currently an MBA candidate at Kellogg's School of Management at Northwestern University. Prior to Kellogg, I was a consultant at BCG for 3.5 years. I started as a business analyst where I work with a lot of random things. Uh, but I also did a 1 year externship, secondment at the presidential office, working with the president of Indonesia to help navigate through the COVID situation. And most of the time, we just do a lot of analysis for the president. So, can someone help me to pull out the slide? Okay. Okay. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Okay. I really hope that you guys are having a lot of good time with Garuda Hacks, though. I think this is a very good initiative for everyone. And I really hope that today we can touch upon a lot of MSMEs topics, which I'm sure that we have the question panel. Brian, would you mind to just rehearse again how can people ask questions if they have questions?
Yeah, so questions will be we do have some questions from participants that we have stored in our private chat. And there will also be questions coming in from our comment section later, which I will read out to you later.
Cool. So I have my slides on and I hope everyone can see. Brian, please let me know if it does not work. Okay. So today I think we will talk upon the small businesses in Indonesia, what it is, why it is very important for Indonesian businesses, and how we can see the opportunities, what are the problems, and how we can actually help them through a lot of things that we are doing here. So let me move to the first slide. Well, this is me. So again, rehearsing before, I'm still studying now. Aside from that, I'm currently an advisor at Gandeng Foundation, which is a uh, social impact foundation for social entrepreneurs to grow. I was an executive board at Indonesia Youth for SMEs. I am also an advisor at IMC and mentor at Kinobi Asia to help students who are wanting to pursue further in their career. So a little bit about Indonesia, which I know maybe a lot of other speakers have already told you this, but maybe like more in more detail, it's a home to 270 million people. I would say rapidly growing middle class. I think and then in the demographic side itself, we are in the phase of bonus demographic where people are around 30, 40 years old, very productive. We have like 5.6% GDP growth per year. And yeah, we do have a strong sense of consumerism. And this is a very fun fact about Indonesia because when I see it right now, during my time at Kellogg. A lot of people don't really know about Indonesia other than Bali. And I would say that a lot of people were very surprised that Indonesia's population is actually one of the greatest. It's like fourth in the world right now. So this is a very good background that you have to put in your mind when you are thinking about what can we do further. It's like the fact that we have the volume, the people who are needing help, and how the growth itself is more in the middle class is actually a very important thing to remember. On the other side, in the economic structure itself, we are definitely, with the large number of population, we definitely have the largest economy in Southeast Asia. We see Southeast Asia as a region as a such growing ones. I would say Indonesia is probably one of the backbone to it. And in the world, in the global population itself, we are seventh largest economy by GDP. And what's very interesting about this is MSMEs, the micro, small, medium enterprises actually contribute 60.3% to the whole Indonesian economy, while absorbing 97% of employment. It means like almost two-thirds of the country is relying on MSMEs to contribute. And well, if we see like everyone is like becoming an employee of this MSME, and again, this is a very interesting thing to see and to think of, that how would we as the generation with a lot of innovation would actually contribute, making sure that the 60.3% of contribution will not go to waste, and how we can actually absorb more people, making sure that the economy of Indonesia goes stronger because of MSMEs. And giving you a little bit of overview of what types of MSMEs, and when we say like 60.3% of the total GDP means, I would say that it means that we have more MSMEs is the that's basically coming from different types. So biggest one is culinary. I would say there are a lot of people doing their business in culinary. There are a lot of people doing it from clothing, and a big chunk of them are actually in agriculture as well. And this is also very, very interesting fact, because I would say that this means there are a lot of others that we don't really explore, but all of the biggest chunk are actually in these three types of MSMEs. And when we say what are the key traits of MSMEs, we'll see that first one, it's typically mom and pop or family operations, like very small ones, and a big chunk of it are actually in the micro segment instead of like smaller or medium. So then you can see maybe like some of the people just have this business, that's it, like you and your family have it for the entire time, and you pass it to the next generation. And they are also typically are entrepreneurs without conventional business education. So a lot of people got it passed from their parents, or actually just making the business and try to work on it by themselves, not really having the business education to guide them or where to go. And the last one is they usually serve their local community, so it usually is just there. They don't know how to expand it, but at the same time it leads to an extremely loyal customer base. So this gives a lot of sense of when you think of small businesses, what would it be? I hope it's very clear now. And there are three biggest challenges to grow MSMEs in Indonesia, and this I will speak about this also based on my experience working at the presidential office, looking through it from becoming the consultant for the SMEs through IYS, and I think like these are the three biggest prevailing issues why it is so hard for SMEs to grow. The first one is the limited access to financing. We know that financing is a very important aspect for you to grow a business because you need capital, you need people to invest on you to actually for you to grow the business. You need that people who trust your business ideas and help you to expand your business ideas further. So this is one of the biggest issue for SMEs. And the second one is the lack of managerial skills. I would say that because these people may be coming from non-business education background, some other people just like follow through what their parents have done, and some other people will just go straight and work on the operations of producing things. There is a big gap in terms of what managerial skills and entrepreneurial it looks like. And the last one is the lack of tech know-how. As we know that technology has been like very important part of every single business right now. And I would say that the biggest challenge is because they are very traditional. Sometimes they don't know how to leverage tech to grow their business even further. Let me deep dive into these three challenges. So first one, the limited access to financing. When I say what is limited access to financing, it's and what is the root cause of it. So limited access to financing means whenever they go to a bank, if they do know that they can go to the bank, they will have problem to get finance. And then like when I say that if they know how to go to the bank, it's also because they have a very limited knowledge about financing. They don't know why they need financing. A lot of them are scared of getting a financing from a bank. A lot of them actually think that, oh, I don't want to leave having a loan, and they just they don't see the strategic thinking of why you need to finance to get financing to grow the business. But on the other hand, for those people who are needing financing, so for example, those who already know that they need the capital to grow, or they actually in the branch of like not they cannot really operate anymore. Like when they actually go to the banks, they find it really hard to get financing, mainly because of several reasons. One is there is no collateral that I can put. As you know, all of the banks require you to have a collateral before you can get a financing from the bank. And second, which is also another big chunk of it, is documentation issues. There are a lot of the small businesses who don't have the real registration license for their businesses. At the same time, they also don't have the knowledge to complete documentation required. A lot of times they don't know what are this documentation and how to go to the government office to get it done. And the last one is actually they have a very limited support to legalize the business. So when they actually find this kind of challenges, no one is actually telling them what to do, and they don't even have the access to go to a lawyer or anyone who can help them to legalize the business and get the business registered well to be eligible for any kind of financing. The last part of it is also because they have a very unstructured financial reporting. This is hard for bank to assess to because what the process itself is when you are applying for a loan to the bank or to whoever it is, they would want to see how your business has been growing before. They want to see whether you can finally pay your debt in the future. And this is the problem when what we see is like because they don't have a structured financial reporting, a lot of them are actually still doing a manual bookkeeping which is like, okay, sometimes I remember that I have to do it, sometimes I don't, and sometimes you also cannot reconcile off the manual bookkeep that you actually done. And there are a lot of people that have unsegregated bank account between personal versus business. So a lot of people will just mix it up. I get it from my work. I I pay for my personal expenses, and then it does not show that you have a very good business because your money is basically gone most of the time. And this is why MSMEs has a real challenges to acquire, to get a financing from a bank. And I think this is something that we really need to address. How can we help them, making sure that these are not something that hindering them from getting a financing to support their business. Going to the second challenge is the managerial skills. As I mentioned before, managerial skills is something that you acquire through time, but at the same time, it needs the mindset to wanting to do this for you to actually be able to acquire managerial skills. So a lot of the MSMEs produce good products. I would not say that they don't have good products. They absolutely have a very good products, but then they have a very limited skill to grow the business. They don't know how to grow it. They have a very minimum product innovation and improvement. So when they look at their products, oh, this is what makes me survive till date. I will not even change a slight recipe to the food that I'm producing. And this has become a comfort zone to them. They will just go get up in the morning, do the same thing, produce the same good products every single day without the ability to grow the business even further. And the next one is because they don't have the channels to distribute the products and services even further. So if you open a store in one of the big roads in Indonesia, you probably will stay there and you don't know how to channel it out, how to send it over to other regions, how to get other people know your product, and how to have a better supply chain that will help your business. The last one is they hire a lot of low quality talent. So this is like a chicken eggs problem, because chicken and egg problem because high quality talents do not want to work for uh, lower quality bosses, but at the same time they keep hiring the low quality talents to help the business, and they also have hard time to actually train the employees. And then you will keep working with the same people, with the same mindset, with the same knowledge to produce good stuff without knowing that you can grow the business even further. And the last challenge, last of the biggest challenge, I would say that there are so many other different challenges out there, but one of the latest one that we see is the lack of tech know-how. We see that most of the MSMEs have offline marketing and limited branding, meaning like, yeah, they open a store in one of the the market in Indonesia, and that's it. They don't have marketing, they don't have branding, and they only do it offline. So some of them went to e-commerce, some of them not, and this is something that we see as a problem as well. And they have a very limited knowledge about cutting edge technology innovation that will help their business. Just as a very example is like they still keep the manual bookkeeping where they can move to the technology innovation that will help them with that. And at the same time, there are a lot of them who are being very reluctant and skeptical about the technology innovation itself. They don't know whether it will just be a waste of money, whether it's worth the investment to put their money in and the innovation. And a lot of them are just worried about the change into the tech innovation that they acquire. They don't think that that's going to be helpful in their businesses. And I would not disregard this one, is because Indonesia is such a big country, and there are a lot of places that we don't build our infrastructure well. I would say that sometimes these people are also pressured by the infrastructure challenges. A lot of people want to have the technology innovation, but it's costly to actually acquire to have a computer at wherever they are, or it's really hard to get a good signal in wherever they are because we don't have a good network provider yet, or there is no internet or even electricity at their places. So infrastructure challenges are there, which is hard for us And I will speak from the point of view of the government as well. We've been trying really, really hard to make sure there is an improvement. So, for example, when we look at the latest Papua development, it's something that we try to. It's our effort to eliminate these infrastructure challenges, but it's something that is still pressuring for these people to increase their tech know-how. Brian, just checking here. Are we good? Cool. I would touch upon the pandemic time where I did most of my time working for the presidential office. So I would say that the pandemic affect every single one of us, but it's also affecting the MSMEs really, really hard. 87.5% of them are affected by the pandemic. The real problem is because the supply chain basically stuck everywhere. They A disruption in acquiring raw materials becomes the very big challenges. They start seeing the high increase in price for their raw materials. Some of them are just stuck. They usually import good stuffs from abroad, and then now because of the supply chain issue they don't really get any raw materials or not even having a good products to sell. So this leads into a significant decrease in sales. And I would say that it's happening not only to MSMEs, even the big companies are also feeling the same thing, but because they are small, they just feel the impact even like more damaging compared to the big companies who are more prepared to it. And 70% of the MSMEs actually have stopped their operations, at least during that time. I hope that they are now returning to operations if it is possible, or have been inhibited because of basically they just need a lot of help to navigate through the pandemic situation. And when we say like why is it like really, really hard for the MSMEs to recover or basically just navigate through the pandemic? The first thing that I would mention is a lot of the sales and the businesses require high physical interaction with customers. Imagine these are the people that you usually buy food from, or this is the people that sell their clothes not through the online channel, but they actually sell it in the market where people can go in Tanah Abang, for example, the one our largest clothing and basically everything is there, but it requires a lot of high physical interaction with the customers. And second is they also have under diversified types of products. If you sell nasi goreng, so pretty much you will only sell nasi goreng, and you cannot really you cannot really change it into any other product that might be more visible to be sold during the pandemic time. The third one is they are not prepared. That a lot of them are having a lot of time to pivot, or they actually don't have the capabilities to pivot into anything because they've been doing the same thing. They've been producing the good stuff, and they know that they can survive with that. They've never think about this strategically. What if would something happen? And then when pandemic starts, when it hits really, really hard, it becomes a very, very tough time for them to think of what can I do to make sure my business is still operating, and they don't even have the capabilities, and at the end of the day they stop the operations. The fourth one is because they have a low quality control to still gain trust from the customer. So for example, when you come to a restaurant, a very small restaurant, I would mention the Padang restaurant, very good one. But then like do you actually trust when you are even able to order it online? Do you actually trust them that they will still give the best quality that you enjoy every time you go to these Padang restaurants? Well, the research says that people are not really trusting that. They are also they had a very hard time trusting, because like pandemic is also very, very tough situation in terms of health condition, a lot of people stop buying food outside, and I do believe that also happens to everyone who are listening today. That happens to me as well. That's when I start cooking for my family most of the time, and because they have a low quality control, I don't. A lot of people don't really trust to buy food from them anymore, um, in comparison to buy food from the bigger chains. So that's the thing for quality control issue. And the last one, which I acquired through my time in presidential office and also at IYS, is when they actually struggle, they don't know where to go. They don't have the access to the supports, the advisors, the people who can help them to navigate through the pandemic. What are the things that they can do? They don't have the access to the reports, to the news, to the any kind of things that they can any kind of help that they can get. It's really hard to for them to navigate through the pandemic. And one of the way out that I can think of is actually the internet. When we see like Indonesia currently, we see the exponential growth in digital customers. We see pandemic actually gives a very big bump into it. Pre-pandemic consumers is around 69.5%, which is really high. Maybe also supported by the fact that people just use WhatsApp, not very much into this business yet, but for daily usage. But I think like there are an increase significantly during the pandemic by 6.2% in 2020 and 4% in 2021. And this is like the way out. This is what MSMEs can tap upon to help their businesses to grow. And we also see an incremental of 3.6%, the average number of new digital services that is consumed. And because of the pandemic situations itself, we can also see the reasons are more into how it makes like their lives convenient, and how it just becomes a very part of their routine. I would actually highlight that e-commerce part, which is highlighted in blue here, is actually the big chunk of it. So the part of making sure that life consumers life, both sides, from the MSMEs and also the consumer who consume the products from the MSMEs, should be very convenient. And I think this is something that you guys want to think of when you are thinking about the innovation. And because you have a very good baseline, 65% of people actually think that digital services have made their lives easier. And I would say that when you think about the innovation, there are a lot of things that you can make this number increase even further. How can you make these people feel that it's more convenient to do a lot of stuff in a digital world? And how do you actually shift from the dark blue into the lighter blue, which is making sure that people take that as a part of their routine? Well, how do how will they consume digital services into their daily life? This is no longer just making me convenient for the time being when there is a pandemic that I cannot really go out, but it's also how you change and shift the mindset of these people and make this as part of their daily life. And what we see is, because the internet economy itself is valued at $70 billion in 2021, we expect it to also grow into to like 146 billion in 2025. And this represents a big growth rate of 20% per year. And I would say that when we see what are the impacts out of this, how the digital services and the internet economy itself will grow the business, the MSME's business, no, Indonesian's economic structure in general, it will increase the labor inputs by 2.1%. it will increase the productivity by 5%, and there are a total cumulative growth opportunities of 9.5%. And I would say that this is a very, very, very significant value add to 2025 GDP. And we can see this is what the big chunk of it will also come from the internet economy. There are some startups that actually have starting to tap into this. Like, what are the things that they can help in making sure that all of the increase that we want to happen through the internet economy happens. So, for example, I would mention Woobies, who helps people find part-time jobs at the small businesses. Woobies was one of our IYS client before, and I know they're doing really great, doing most of the work at retail businesses. I would also mention Wahyu, which helps the local restaurants source produce in a quick and low cost way, because as we know, the big chunk of the expenses for small businesses, local restaurants, are actually the raw materials. So knowing this, how to source this in a very quick and low cost way, is very important. And another part of increasing productivity, I would mention Buku Warung, who helps MSMEs with accounting and bookkeeping. They try to make it very simple for everyone to be able to understand, and try to make it as a daily routine habit for them to have a good financial reporting. I do believe this will also help increase their access to financing in the future. And the other part, Wahyu also have the initiatives of pajak that helps companies to file taxes. This is also a big part of it, because MSMEs don't think that they need to pay for taxes, and then it becomes harder for them to file, to register their businesses. So I think like this kind of innovation actually help them to think through how to increase their productivity, making sure that they have the accesses in the future. So I actually come into my last slide of my presentation. I'm just checking here, Brian, are we doing okay? Cool. So there are some key takeaways that I would mention through my 40 minutes presentation. The first one is I would want to advise that for you to create a project that tackles an issue that isn't well appreciated. There are so many people trying to innovate. Some of them try to build on top of each other's, and some others are actually thinking of issues that is not really tapped yet. And I would say that when you think of the angle from MSMEs, think about the issues that is not a it's not something that people really want to tap into. That would be a very interesting project that for you to work on. And the second one is you should do your market research, understanding what are the characteristics of Indonesian people, Indonesian businesses, what are the challenges. Do your market research before starting your project, making sure that you have the context of what can you do, what kind of innovation that would be helpful for whatever your project result is. And when you start thinking and crafting your project, look at the subsection of the MSME community. So, for example, are you trying to help these types of MSMEs, or are you trying to help MSMEs who have chains? And when you look and define your clear target, you probably have to specify your innovation into specific businesses. I think that would really help you to think through what are the most important thing to prioritize at the moment, and how your project will really help them. How this is craft and design for a specific industry, because at the end of the day you cannot really do it for all. It will be really hard for you to create a project that will help all of the MSMEs community in any kind of businesses. So think through what kind of MSME target you want to target through your project. So, and as what I mentioned before, the fourth point is focus on one solution at a time. You should not, it's not that you cannot dream big, but the way that we should try helping these people is by finding one solution at a time. If we see the example before, um, all of the startups starts very small. Wahyu also starts very small, and then they grow the business into the adjacent businesses later. So the way that you should think about your projects are doing it this way. Focus on solving one solution and see what are the opportunities later. And the last one, which is very important, especially for MSMEs, knowing the context, knowing the understanding the based on your market research. You have to make sure that your solution is practical. It's implementable by people from various backgrounds, because people have different backgrounds. They also have different education background. They have different uh, appetite for technology and innovation. You have to make sure that your solution is practical, meaning it is something that they can do, it is something that will definitely help them, and it is implementable. So that's actually all from me for today. Brian, would you mind to share some of the questions that we might have?
Sure. Yeah. So we do have several questions from some of the participants that dropped off their questions earlier. So I guess like one question is that you talked a little bit about your background working in working in the government and with externships. So I was like curious. So what do you think? What motivated you to do that, and what do you find most rewarding about that?
Well, personally, I always think that it's very important for me to feel that my work is tangible. I would want to have a tangible impact. And during the time, I thought that what would be best, like how do you actually make a change in a very large scale, aside from doing it with the government. And also because I have a very good so I was working with the president's special staff, Ayu Kartika Dewi, and she is also a very good mentor. So I would say that we actually work really hard to see what are the real problems. We prioritize the critical issues, making sure that we actually have the good analysis to support all to support the decision making. And at the same time, during that time, it was the unfortunately the pandemic time. So then I spent a lot of times looking through what are and hey Bri,
Hey, can you hear me?
lagging now.
Yeah, you're still lagging for a bit. Hey everyone, it looks like Stella is not able to rejoin us because of internet issues, but that wraps up our talks for the night. Tomorrow we'll be having our opening ceremony at 10 a.m. Waktu Indonesia Barat, that is GMT plus 7. Please do come. It's a really exciting time to open the ceremony, and we'll send you off on your hacking journey then. Until then, take care.